Hi, it's Lee Carraher, and this is Everything Speaks, where we talk about how everything you do and say speaks for you if you want it to or not. Today, I'm trying a little new gizmo, see if it works. If it doesn't, I guess I'll just re-record. The other thing we're going to talk about today is something that's really near and dear to my heart this past week, is how to answer a question when you don't know the answer. I'm going to give you a pro tip here and let you know that I don't know is an answer. It's a valid answer. It's a truthful answer. Well, it should be a truthful answer. And you should not apologize for not knowing when the variables are up and down. You don't have the information you need to do something. You shouldn't apologize for it. Just say, I don't know. What you don't want to do, if you're holding a webinar and you've promised to have all the answers and the situation changes, is cancel that webinar and say that it was a technical problem. Because everybody knows. Everybody knows that you canceled that webinar because you didn't have the new answer. The better thing to do, if you had a plan for a webinar and everything just changed so that what you were going to present is no longer relevant, is to cancel and say, everything changed, so what we were going to tell you is no longer relevant. We are going to monitor the situation for the next couple of days, and we'll let you know when we're ready to have the webinar again. But to blame it on technical difficulty is a weak outing. It's a weak outing. Don't do it. You lose your credibility. So why do people do that? Because they're afraid of saying, I don't know. They're afraid of admitting that they don't have all the answers. No one has all the answers. Nobody has all the answers. And the more that you are willing to live in that fact that you don't know all the answers, the better it is. Now, does that mean you just say, I don't know, I'm off? Not if you're in a team that's trying to get something done. No, that's not acceptable. It's not acceptable. What is acceptable is to say, I don't know the answer. Here's what I want you to do for the next 24 to 48 hours, and say it out loud, whatever it is you want them to do. And then I will let you know when we're going to reconvene and talk about what to do next. When 9/11 happened, so many years ago, I was in California at the time, and my son, who was my older son, he was probably 4. He came in and woke me up, and he said, Mom, Daddy is watching a movie. I just saw a plane go into a building in a movie out, and I was furious. And whatever morning time it is, 6:00 in the morning, and I step out to the living room, and there's my husband. He fell asleep with our baby in his hands, in his arms, and on the plane. And I'm watching television, and I watch as the second plane goes into the Twin Towers. I realized this was not a movie. This was the news. So, holy crap on a cracker. I turn the television off. I wake up my husband, and I go to my office area, and I turn that television on so I can see what's going on. Immediately, I knew what are we going to do? Well, the first thing we're going to do is not go to work that day, because there's nothing we could do. I knew that there's nothing we could do that day. So at that time, we had to activate the phone trees, because that was a while ago. We all had phone trees. So I woke up my people in different parts of the country and in London, and started making phone calls. With some people, I woke up and I said, okay, this has just happened. I want you to activate your phone tree and say, we are not going to work today. And if you have your computer at home, great. If you don't, we're going to call you later. We'll call you, I think I said at 2:00. This is 6 a.m. And I've been through enough crises to know we're not going to know anything until 2:00 minimum. And I said, just stay at home. If your clients, and then call your clients at the regular business hours, and you can let them know that we are available if they need us by phone, and we will be in touch with them tomorrow. So we're staying home today. We're available if you need us, and we'll call you tomorrow. I said, call your client, the team leads, call your clients at regular business hours. on their cell phones, at their home phone, because we have all that information. Call them and say, we are at home today. If you need us, please call us. We will be back in touch tomorrow. And then actually, I went to the office, and because that's what you do. And I was there watching the news and talking to all the people and all the groups, and just people are like, what are we going to do? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do. But I will make a phone call. I'm going to talk with my bosses, and I'll figure something out. And I will be back in touch with everybody at 2:00. So I huddled with my peers and my boss, and we made the call then, and we weren't going to the office today, and we're not going to the office tomorrow. So I said we were going to come back to the office on Thursday. So at 2:00, I had a conference call with everybody, and I said, hope everybody's okay. I hope everybody's family's okay. We are going to stay home. We're going to stay home tomorrow, but let's please be in the office on Thursday morning. We'll have an all-staff meeting at 9:30. So, Lee, what's going to happen? I don't know what's going to happen. What I do know, is that we can't do anything today. We should not be pitching anything today. There's no way for me on the phone. But Lee, we have an event. We have a new business meeting. No, we don't. We have no events. We have no new business meetings. What I do know is those all getting canceled. And if anyone has meetings on the calendar for today or tomorrow or even Thursday, please cancel them. And if the client really wants to meet with us, keep a meeting, let's discuss it. The team did all that and canceled all the meetings, and every client was, thank you. We're canceling everything. I mean, it was just like a non-issue in general. It was a non-issue. So I didn't know what was going to happen, but I did know what I could control. And what I could control is keeping everybody at home because there's nothing for us to do. Keeping everybody home the next day because we weren't going to have an action plan that I could share with anybody. And having that day on Wednesday was going to give us some time to figure stuff out, and that I'd be able to have some sort of action plan on Thursday. So I didn't know, but I did know what I could control. And what I could control is our office hours. I could control if people went to the office or not. I could control how people should respond to us. I could control all those things. So although I did not know the answer to the big situation, I did have an answer for us. So it's a question of, for instance, so right now I'm recording this on 4/24/2025. There's a lot going on, tariffs off, depending where you're in the world. Do you live in Nebraska? Do you have a cattle ranch? I mean, oh my gosh, all the things, right? So June 2nd, May 3rd, July, I mean, all the dates. And it's really very difficult to plan anything. What I don't know is a lot. What I do know is that I control our spending. I control if we're hiring. I control how we respond to our clients. And so when I been talking with the team and with our clients, it's like, let's just say I don't know. I don't know this, but I do know that we've evaluated every client, see any problem. Does any client have a problem in their program? And only one client needed an adjustment. And we're just keeping close tabs with them all on the situation as it evolves. What I don't want you to do when you don't know the answer is to fake it. Because you cannot fake this until you make it. It's not possible. I was invited to a webinar last week, last week. I was going to go to pretty high profile webinar, and half an hour before the webinar, and that was the day, I guess it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Can't even keep it straight anymore. The tariffs were on in the morning, and then the afternoon, the tariffs were on a 3-month pause. So obviously the situation did not just a 180, but a 270, I guess, because it was on a pause, but they were still going to be in effect. But some countries were out, some countries were in, who knew? And the webinar people, they sent us an email 30 minutes before the webinar, which was pretty close when the announcement came out that it was a pause, that they had technical difficulties and they had to reschedule the podcast. Can I tell you that no one believed them? No one believed them. Not a podcast, a webinar, sorry. No one believed them. And we back channeled it, and I realized, I know that that's not why they canceled it. They canceled it because everything changed, and everything they were going to tell everybody on the webinar was no longer valid. So they would have so much more credibility if they had said, everything just changed. Let's not have this webinar because everything we prepared for you is no longer relevant to the situation. We're going to assess the situation and we'll be back in contact with you as soon as we know we have a handle on what we think is the situation, and we'll reschedule. If they had done that, even if they did have a technical problem, they would have kept everybody in the pile. But literally, all of the people who were going to be on this webinar, we all knew each other. A lot of us knew each other. And we're like, oh my God, that's so lame. So now I'm not going back. There's no way I'm going to go back. Spend my time with someone like that. We're going to cancel it again just because I don't know. We don't know. What's more useful is what you do know. So what you do know, and when you are going to make, what are the parameters under which you will make a change? In what time frame will you be able to report back if there is any change? What are the steps you're going to take to understand if you need to make a change? Those things you can figure out, even if you don't know the answer to the question, what's going to happen. So please don't say an answer that you're just making it up because you don't know the answer and you don't want to appear like you don't know the answer. Now, of course, there are times when you should know the answer, and you know how I feel about that word, should. I was at a meeting today and I asked a question, and the person should know the answer. They're in charge of membership in this organization. I said, how many members do we have? Or do you have? How many members do you have? I don't know the answer. Now, I don't know the answer for how many members do you have when you're in charge of membership. That is not okay, right? That is not okay. If you are in charge of membership, know how many members you have. If you are in charge of sneakers, know how many sneakers you have. If you are in charge of staplers, know how many options there are. If you're in charge of mice, know about mice. So if you have a domain that you can control and you're responsible for, and you can have it at your fingertips, I don't know is not a great answer. A better answer, when you should know the answer, is let me get the updated and do it right there if you can. Or let me get the most up-to-date answer and I'll let you know tomorrow, Lee, or whoever, right? But I don't know how many members we have when you were in charge of membership. Not a great answer. So what's the difference? When things are around you that you cannot control, they're not in your domain, and it's at a whim of somebody, and people ask you what's going to happen. And if you don't know, please say, I don't know. It's a moment of strength. And then please say, what are you going to do in what time frame to get a better handle on it? And then also tell people what to do in the meantime. Please go about your day. Please don't go about your day. Please stay at home. We have nothing to do today. Come in tomorrow. Or please, everything's going forward. If you find a problem in what your program is, given what's going on in the world, please let us know and we'll workshop it right there. But right now, just keep moving forward and we will reconvene in 48 hours or whatever. That is a legitimate, I don't know answer. Now, the other illegitimate, I don't know answer for things that you're supposed to know, find a better way to buy yourself some time. Let me get the most updated numbers. I didn't check the numbers before I come in, and I'll get that number to you tomorrow or whatever it is. But I don't know. I do know. That's a bad answer, and you're supposed to know. So you can buy yourself some time and not lose face on the things that you should do, but on the things that you have no control over. When you say, I know, and you can't control it, you're digging yourself a hole, you're making yourself weaker, and you're losing confidence in you from the people around you. All right. What's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know. The sun's going to come up. But other than that, I don't know. All right, everybody. Until next time, I'm Lee Caraher, and this is Everything Speaks.